Hi everybody, I'm Daman Mehta and welcome to my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. Let's just get right into these stories and let's move on with, so the first one is Naruma, a Magical Ninja by Dark Lord Sigma. And this is a Naruto Nagima crossover, as always, as I've had a couple of these in the previous videos. So basically this starts a little bit it starts at canon, as Nagima canon, as always, with the difference being Naruto was living with Neji as Neji's brother long before he showed up there, and it's basically implied that he left Konoha after some big thing when he was much younger than normal, so it wasn't not regular Naruto canon doesn't happen. But we don't really see a lot any of the interaction from before. Instead, it's just Naruto. It's just Naruto showing up and dealing with all the madness of Nagima, as always. The harem humor and stuff is a little fun. I did enjoy it, and Naruto is basically not his normal self. It's more he's more of Chamo's personality, where he's embracing the perverted I'm a teenage boy, I have hormones, so it's fine for me to ogle women and stuff, and like that is more his personality. It gets to the point where most Nagima fics that don't finish get, which is the Mahora festival where the time travel and shit goes down. It doesn't actually get very far into the festival, but while there are a few crossover elements that show up during things like the Kyoto trip and stuff, it's just a couple more fights that get added that I don't really care about. Writing wise, I just found it to be a little bland, and the author constantly messes up like spelling mistakes with like your versus your with an apostrophe, there the THERE versus THEIR, and all of those. Like they're just constantly getting mixed around. But it's not really objectionable. It's just boring for me, and this is not going to stay on my list. Next is a Haruhi Suzumiya fic with Error in Calculation by Durandall, and this is a short story that takes place rather early on in the Haruhi canon, which is like very much in the beginning, where like if Yuki did not save Kyon from Asakura in the classroom, and instead Kyon dies, and it's from there it's just a story of, okay, there's the investigation and murder, kidnapping, and it's really interesting. It focuses on Haruhi and Yuki for the most part, but the police detectives that are investigating this get a surprising amount of screen time and some good character development. The initial premise is really fun, seeing Yuki and like Haruhi and even Koizumi evolve as characters in this small bit of time is really fun. I really enjoyed this, though even like it's far from the normal fics I read, because most of the normal Haruhi fics I read are very Kyon based, and like this is not him, but I found this to be really, really interesting, and it's going to stay on my list. Next is a short one-shot of Harry Potter with Hedwig and the Goblet of Fire by Meteoricshipyards, and this is just a story praising the smartest owl in history and marveling as she makes a mockery of the Triwizard Tournament. It's short, fun, entertaining. I love Hedwig and the stuff that goes on, even the minor tweaks that they have to change to make sure Hedwig can't just cheat her way through the tournament are really entertaining. I found this to be a great laugh. It's going to stay on my list. And then now from there we move to a more serious Harry Potter fic with Beyond the Pale by Araceil. So this is an unfinished one, which, badly gives problems of its own. But so basically this is a story where Harry basically has his emotions beaten out of him as a child, and then is slowly relearning them as he goes through Hogwarts and stuff. It's pretty interesting in the sense that he's actually getting his emotions back and returning to normal, whereas most like fics where Harry loses his emotions or stuff basically just has him stay cold and just becomes either he's a cold genius or a sociopath in some way, whereas here he's just hurt and he's getting like being coaxed out of his shell and learning how to feel again, and that's fine. There are some cliches in this fic with like the not so dead parents cliche, where Harry's parents are also alive, and even the other brother is the wrong boy who lived. Stuff is going on at the same time. I don't mind it as much as I normally do, because they're not painted as cartoonishly evil or even like completely stupidly naive or something. They're just like, and they do realize they just like they trusted family, never checked in on it. That's dumb, but they did send support that just wasn't used, and they are, once they learn of it, they do try to fix it, so it's totally fair. Not really, but it's more forgivable than in most cases. This story gets to the 4th year, which is the Triwers of Torment, and then it's abandoned, and so it's again just one of the bigger problems with unfinished fics, especially these, is that they're not, most of the time they're not written as in like arcs. They're written as one, or it's all one arc that, because it's incomplete, it's just never finished, and as such you're always left just unsatisfied, because like this like the story itself is basically standard. So, and Voldemort, while it's a Harry Potter, so like there's 2 arcs. There's Voldemort, to deal with Voldemort, which doesn't happen. It leaves on a slightly interesting note, but it's not done. And then the other arc, which is the only other arc that we care about, which is Harry regaining his emotions and acting like a normal person, and that doesn't get finished. It's started, it's basically there the midpoint, but you're just left unfulfilled because it doesn't end. And so I think if the author kept going and finished this, it would have stayed on my list, but right now it just leaves you emotionally blue-balled, and I don't like that kind of stuff, so it's off. Alright, next is another Harry Potter fic, this one called Cold Blood by Durlacroix. And this is another independent Harry fic where he breaks away from the chains of Dumbledore and stuff and goes to be his own man, and this time he becomes part dragon. There's a few interesting bits where like Harry does manage to get himself out of the tournament. That's not something that happens very long. Also, Hermione's family, we get to meet an aunt of hers, and they science up a cure for werewolves. And I think the writing is okay. I just did not connect. This is another one where it's like, I think the writing's fine, I just didn't dive into it and didn't super care about what was going on. I feel like a broken record. It's going over and over. I say that again and again. It's like, oh, this story, it's okay. It's pretty good. I just didn't care. And maybe it is just sheer amount of fics that I'm rereading. Like I'm reading so many, and especially a lot of them are Harry Potter fics. And so maybe it's just the sheer amount where I'm like, okay, this is getting tedious and this one just didn't stick with me. But at the same time, that's the thing. That's where I am, and that's not what I want to stay on my favorites list. I think this is actually better than some of the other ones that I've passed up recently, like Rocking the Boat recently. So I think if you want a a super independent hairy fic, you know, where he becomes part dragon and gets like wings and shit and like becomes super strong, all that stuff. If you want to read a super hairy fic, I think you wouldn't be disappointed with this this story. But I just did not get super invested in it, so it's not gonna stay on my list. Alright, 2 more for this video, and both of them are from Love Hina. So let's go. First one with totally random Love Hina skits again by Andrew Joshua Talon. And this, so okay, it's a warning right here that this story contains this fic contains a lot of sex scenes that are graphic, and it includes teenagers having sex and rape play going on, so be aware. I'm not going to be putting the URL for this one in my in the description. The name is there if you really want to look it up, but I'm not going to put the URL here. And this story is basically it's a collection of like one shots that is inspired by the inortal time loop. So again, like, you know, just single character looping in time over and over again, and so is doing whatever the hell he wants. And while a lot of the time loops in the other inortal fics or other fics based on that are focused on like sexual humor or like characters wanting to get sex and stuff, that's not all they are. There are other fics where they're just having like just something stupidly absurd is going on or stuff like that. This one is basically just nothing but Keitaro having sex with the various girls that are in the inn. I just did not find it entertaining or enjoyable. If you want to just see a confident Keitaro just have sex with everyone, including forcing sex with the thing like, oh, they like it and I've loved them in loops, so they'll enjoy it, and like, oh, she's fucked up in the head, this is the only way to get to her. Like, okay, if that's what you want, it's here. Otherwise, just stay away from this fic, and it's gonna fall off my list. Okay, and moving on to something a little lighter from there, again, like I said, Love Hina again, is Or Get Off the Pot by Merkaba. And this is a romance story. Basically, I'm not sure when in the timeline this happens, but like Keitaro confesses to Naru that he loves her, and then in this one, she just says no. And so now Motoko, Kitsune, and Mutsumi all now are fighting for his heart. And I think this is a good story. I'm going to say that right out the gate. It's paced well. It shows the character's growth over time from beforehand, so that I didn't immediately hate the thought of like, oh, abusive Motoko is basically abused and like attacked him all this time, and now he just gets with him. Like, I didn't, or like Kitsune is just manipulated and used him all this time, and it's fine. Like, there was enough growth that I didn't immediately hate the idea. And it even lets you choose your own ending with an epilogue for each girl that you can choose which one you want. And if you're a fan of base standard romance, romantic stories like, you know, like romantic movies like Love Actually or stuff like that, then this will be for you, because this basically removes a lot of the anime-ness and like ridiculousness that would be associated with a Love Hina fic. It basically is just a normal romance story, and I feel like that's why it did not work for me. It just felt too normal, you know. Like I said, I'm not saying it's bad, and I know that I'm not saying that kind of romantic story is bad. It's just not for me. So if you're the kind of type that likes those kind of romance stories and just like love triangle where people aren't even like super hurting each other, this is actually like very amicable, where they're just all just, maybe that's even weirder, and maybe it won't work for other people, because it's not even like they're trying to sabotage each other much or anything. It's just they're all like, I want to date you, I want to date you, I want to, just like, okay, I'll go out with a couple dates with each of you, and then we'll see where things go. And yeah, if that's your thing, go for it. I just wasn't feeling it, so I think it's a good romance story, but it's not going to stay on my list. And there we have it, 7 more stories. 206 out of 408 so far have stayed on my list. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to read any of these stories, links for most of them, not aside from that one, are in the description. The names are all there as well, the authors, so if you really want to find it, you can search it up yourself. They're all still on fanfiction.net. If you want to leave a comment or if you liked what I said, please feel free. If you want to stay up to date when I do these, please subscribe. I'm thankful for everybody who has done so. It's really, always nice to see new people come into these videos. Aside from that, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.